Ladies, gentlemen, let the show begin. Alright, do you like video games? And I know you do. What about entertainment? We got that too. Video game, Armada, video game, oh, what's the name? Video game Armada. This is one drawing the gamer boss Brawl.
And the informational emperor True Backlash.
And the first lady of Media Blue.
Coming back to you with another movie review. Yay!
Woo!
Now before we begin, I have this note here. Signed by the Fragman. And I quote, I will not be here. He told me to do the voice. I will not be here because Deadpool is stupid. His ideas are stupid. He's insane and a murderer stupid of murderosity. I will not do his movie. That was bad enough. I watched the first one. I'm not going to promote the second one. Fragman out. And he also wrote whoosh. Like he was grappling something. But anyway, glad he's out here because I don't need more closet time, okay? The point is, we did watch Deadpool 2. And let me tell you, it is not the Infinity War. But you know what? That's a good thing because Deadpool is his own character. But before we get with it, we are now imposing 30 minutes or less rule. So we're not going to be droning on out of the mouth like we sometimes do. Long videos are good, but we're people. And we're hungry and we're tired. We got stuff to do. So 30 minutes or less, people. You got the rules?
Got it.
Yeah. All right. Backlash, if you don't mind. The story, please.
It's going to be hard to go on. But basically...
Best as you can.
All right.
Without spoiling.
Yeah.
We're going to save the spoiler for the aftermath.
All right. After Wade goes through personal trauma and nothing silly or fourth wall breaking, actual trauma, he starts to lose faith in himself. He starts to reconnect with his buddies, the X-Men, mainly Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Colossus, and Yukio. Who's Yukio? You'll be hearing her name a lot in the movie when she appears. Oh, hi, Yukio.
She's not that important.
Yeah. But things don't really work out for them either. So, but he does meet this boy named Russell, who in the comics is Russell Collins, a.k.a. Fire Fist. Apparently Deadpool thinks that's a stupid name, but ultimately he likes the kid. Then all of a sudden, here comes Cable, a mutant from the future, who wants to kill this kid. Why? That would be a spoiler now, wouldn't it? But now everything goes crazy, all heck breaks loose, and it's up to Deadpool to save the day. With a team of super mutants called X-Force. And things get weirder from there, but what do you expect? It's Deadpool.
It's Deadpool. And that's pretty much the story. So who wants to talk about the goods? You or me? Okay. Me? Well, let's just say that this is much better written than the first movie. I liked the first movie in a certain degree, but it was lacking. This movie is also lacking, but it's much better written. It has a much better story in a sense. And for me, the most important part about this, it's reestablishing the X-Men continuity in the Marvel cinema. You know, I am a big proponent of the X-Men lifestyle. I grew up X-Men. X-Men was... Forget the Avengers. The Avengers were just an afterthought of an afterthought. The X-Men back in the 90s was the Marvel team. Right below the Fantastic Four and Iron Man. But, you know, X-Men was where it's at. It makes me sad that the X-Men have fallen so far thanks to Marvel's bungling of their licensing and destroying their grand legacy in the comic books. Who does that? Marvel, that's who. And they're only finally getting good with themselves right now in movies. So now they have the responsibility to bring back the X-Men. And through Deadpool, they are doing that. Deadpool is a character, but the X-Men are a legacy. And any way that you can make the X-Men come back in some way, shape, or form, I'm all for that. They even talked about the legacy mutant rights of a sort. You know, some people don't treat mutants so good. Some people think mutants are monsters. But the X-Men are there to prove them wrong, and if a mutant goes crazy, well, they're there to stop that too. They're established in the universe as a thing, and I'm glad that's true. That's my biggest bonus. Well, not bonus. That's the biggest thing of the goods. Otherwise, I'm glad they have characters in here, like actual legit superhero characters. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Iron Man, fantastic. We have Thor, amazing. Captain America, a little boring, but I approve of his wholesome ideals. He's very good. The Guardians of the Galaxy, they're great. They're funny. They're a hodgepodge team. But the one thing I say about all these characters is that they're done in a certain style that, I don't know. It's like they are almost heroes, but not exactly pushing that button of heroes. I mean, and I can't really say that the Deadpool is a hero of sorts.
Right.
But it's really hard to describe in a way. Maybe, let me reverse that. The Marvel characters are characters, but they're not comic book characters. The characters we saw in Deadpool 2 are comic book characters, and I really do appreciate that. And so that's another advantage. I like that as well. What else? It was funny. It had some funny moments. I enjoyed some of the wordplay. I enjoyed some of the little gags that Deadpool had. 3, 2, 1, spoiler. The X-Men show up for about 5 seconds in this. And when they saw Deadpool being Deadpool, they just quickly closed the door and said, we ain't dealing with that guy today. Oh, poor Colossus. Why is he the caretaker of Deadpool? I'll never know. But he keeps trying. And again, he's also a very cool guy, that Colossus. I mean, I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan of Colossus back in the day, but he's starting to grow on me. He's a good guy. What else? I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else good. I mean, the highlight good. The highlight, what in my view is...
Other than the normal stuff.
The normal goodness. It looks good, sounds good, I like the CGI, etc., etc.
Right.
All right. Who's next?
I think I agree with pretty much everything you said. I actually did like the banter. You know, he is a lunatic, and there's no question
He really
about
is.
it. And because of the nature of his superpowers, per se, he can actually do it and get away with all the gags. Because there's no way anybody with mortality concerns are going to come up with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the idea that, unlike the first Deadpool, they tried to make him a little human this time.
Yes.
I mean, in his crazy quirkiness, they tried to find a human element to the character.
I'll agree to that, yeah.
And then I think overall, with the whole reach back for the X-Men component, I think that was a big lacking piece to the first Deadpool. You might not even make the connection that there was even any
Except for
factor.
Colossus. He was
Except
in there.
for, yeah, exactly. That would be about the only thing.
And the Warhead girl.
Yeah, so, but those things I like. I'll save the rest of my stuff for what I didn't like.
Okay.
Well, okay. So, like everyone else has said, this movie is funny. This movie is really funny. And with Ryan Reynolds helping to co-write it and put his love into it, because he loves this character. I'll give him that. He loves this character, to which I don't agree with him on how things go with X-Men's Origins Wolverine. I'm like one of the few people that actually like that movie. But Ryan Reynolds hates it. He hates it to death. And
Hates what again?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh.
But
Well, of course he does, because everyone makes fun of him because of it. So if someone made fun of something I did because of a job I did, I wouldn't like it much either.
yeah, he doesn't lampshade anything about Blade Trinity. Probably his worst superhero movie to date. But
Hey, who doesn't like Blade? Even the worst role.
I like that movie.
Yeah,
Triple H getting jobbed out. Dominic Purcell of Prison Break and Legends of Tomorrow being the worst villain of the trilogy. Vampire dildos. Enough of that.
It made huge money at the box office.
and it's still Blade.
Yeah, it still make money even in video sales. I mean, it did good.
Yeah, but I still think it's the worst. But anyway, he loves Deadpool character, and it shows. So he's got to be true to the source material, and darn it, he was, while also letting certain parts of the movie where Deadpool takes a break from the comedy and forethought here and bring in some drama, some storytelling. This is why some video game movies don't get that right, is because they don't tell enough of a movie story, don't compromise enough to tell a movie, to make a movie. This was a movie. So that the first thing, it was funny. Second thing, it felt like a movie, just like the last one. But like you said, Bronze, it's better. Like you said, Bronze, it's actually a better movie. In this case, I also liked that they both pushed back on the Vanessa Wade love plot, but also showed still how much they cared for each other. That was wonderful. It was a breath of fresh air. You didn't see all the sex acts that they did this time in this movie. Thank goodness. That was like, ugh. Mm-hmm. But it still showed that they're two messed up people. You got a fourfold breaking, nigh invincible mercenary superhero with wanton disregard for himself and others, and then you got a former call girl, or maybe a current call girl, who has a shared sixth sense of humor, but they still look like a lovely couple, and I respect that. I like Colossus this time around. You know, I liked I liked more of his Boy Scout performance in the first movie, but you know, for what it's worth, I'm glad they gave him some depth. I'm glad they showed that there's cracks in the armor, that he isn't afraid to show a little bit more of a human side to himself, instead of just always quoting the script, always quoting the rules, you know? Domino was amazing. Mm-hmm. Zazie Beetz, I'll give her much credit. I don't think the casting was right for how Domino looks, but Domino is this slinky, super sexy, super pale albino spy-looking mercenary chick. Zazie Beetz looks more like, you know, a superhero.
She's an alternate reality Dumble.
Yeah, and you know, it fits. It fits. She fits the world of Death.
It's got the what's his name? Director Nick Fury treatment.
Yeah, but you know what? That's okay. She set out to prove Deadpool and Weasel wrong, and dang it, she didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And every scene she was in, she was just awesome. And for those who know who about Domino before seeing the movie or seeing the trailers, have a little bit of idea what she can do, she lives up to that hype. Mm-hmm. I loved Russell. Russell, the kid who did that, who played as Russell, was a good actor, fantastic actor. And if that allows him to get more work in Hollywood, similar to Peter Dinklage, without making too much changes that he doesn't want to do in Hollywood or in showbiz, more power to him. Let's see. I also like the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie was awesome, and I love the action they gave when Cable started shooting up things. Mm-hmm. They made Cable freaking Cable, and that's what I love. He was
the comic book Cable.
Yes.
And I love that. You're absolutely right.
In fact, the beginning of this movie felt the most like an X-Men movie for a long time. There's unpopular X-Men movies that I like that others hated. There's popular X-Men movies that everyone and their grandma loves, including me, but I didn't feel that was quite right. The beginning of this movie was an X-Men film. And I'm proud to say it.
I have to agree with that. You know, with the action and Cable's concerned. Yes.
Oh, it was amazing.
Okay, let's talk about the bads. Anyone want to start?
Oh, after you?
Yeah.
Both of you raised your hands at the same time. This should be good.
Yeah, well, I'll just kind of make it brief. Even though I realize the character Deadpool, and I know he is not a character that is for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
I get it. I just hate the idea that with him being such a good actor that, little kids can't come see him.
No.
I mean, they cannot.
I hope no one brought kids to see him.
Cannot take your kids to see this movie.
They even say, you know what? You thought it was a good idea not to bring your kids to this movie. We'll think again.
You cannot take your kids to this movie. There's no question. But it's a shame because it could be something that kids, even though he is really out there, maybe there's too much of him that is out there that kids wouldn't understand, or they might want to do this at home, or whatever. But yeah, that's one thing that I wish it was a little bit more family friendly. I won't even say kid friendly.
Nah, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, and that being said, along the same vein, they took the ass humor way over the top.
I don't actually get that. Why? Why in the world are they trying to make Deadpool sexualized?
With
why
various
poses?
I couldn't get that. For me,
was that part of a comedy that I don't understand?
No, I just found it very much of a distraction from the humor, actually, because when those parts came, I was kind of taken aback. Was like, okay, or whoa, or. What?
I knew it was coming. I couldn't look at certain parts of that.
I didn't like it. I didn't feel that it added anything to the movie. And certainly just in my mind, it didn't add anything to the humor or the zaniness of the character. And I can sincerely say I didn't notice any audiences going through any. Usually when there was something that was funny, the audience kind of went along with the whole funny. But when those certain parts came up, there was maybe one or two gasps. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, it wasn't it was as well received as I think they thought they needed it to be. Mm-hmm. I think they were trying to pull in a younger crowd, the crowd that kind of is just now turning of age, where they can now cuss or they can now do things without mommy or whatever. But for some reason I felt that alienated from the plot a little bit, from the craziness of the character. I also thought, surprisingly enough, I liked the human factor that they kind of gave the character this time. I still didn't like it as well as the first movie. I liked the first movie, and I know that you'd like this one better.
I think it's more well written. I can't.
It
say
is well written.
Yeah.
It was.
I can't say if I like it certainly any better than the first.
The funnies were funnier in this movie, but I liked the movie Deadpool 1 better than Deadpool 2. Now, all these things I say are nitpicks, except for the ass humor. I think that was just, to me, it was uncomfortable and way beyond what it needed to do, and I do think it was just unmarvel. It wasn't necessary. Moving right along.
Okay, so let's start with this.
Now remember, we are doing an aftermath, so we don't really have to go into detail. But
there is no villain in this movie. No.
Well, keep going. I will add my 2 cents in a minute.
Yeah, there is a clear antagonist. There is a famous Marvel comic book character that proves to be the most menace, and there's another character, a Tony Stark character from Civil War, if you will, that causes the last bits of damage in the movie that Deadpool and the others have to face off. But really, there's no clear-cut villain. You have the obligatory ignorant humans, and even though I don't like Curtis Stryker. In X2, in X-Men Legends Wolverine and X-Men Days of Futures Past, he was better, but I kind of thought he was kind of lame. But even he proved some kind of menace, some kind of threat than the human they put here. Speaking of threat, this isn't much of a spoiler. They talk about a place called the Essex House, which is like a dime store version of Charles Xavier's School for Gifted Young Mutants. You'd think they would be doing more with this, but they really don't. It's just a minor part of the movie. And speaking of, I said the first part was like an X-Men movie. The middle part felt a lot more like Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I'm just going to round off some names from Mortal Kombat Annihilation, see if you can't connect the dots. Shiva, Johnny Cage, Rain, Baraka. There, I'm done with that part of it. What it boils down to, if you're just following X-Men, is they bring in all these characters, and whether I think it or the crowd thinks it, which I loved X-Men Apocalypse. I felt that felt like a good team up of X-Men characters, but not much of the cinema going on agrees with me. The group consensus is they really put in so many characters, they really don't know what to do with them. And one thing I hate is a wasted character.
Me too.
Without giving out too much away, Vanessa doesn't do too much.
I think that might be safe for Aftermath.
Aftermath. Trust me, you'll have your time.
I mean, they don't. There's a lot of characters that they bring in from the first movie that doesn't do too much. You know,
let's just say they don't utilize the legacy characters.
Yeah, and I think
some of them anyway.
Let's see. And then there are some patches I don't like to be a technical nerd where people always whine about CG being bad and. Oh, this CG looks so terrible. There's actually a bit of CG that usually the bad CG either gets lampshaded or I hand wave it or I just don't care because it doesn't bother me. There's a bit of CG in this movie that threw me off, That will definitely be an Aftermath, I know that.
Was the CG unstoppable?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bring it up in Aftermath.
And then Cable, they changed his story a little bit, and that's not a bad. What's bad is the very beginning felt like an X-Men movie, and largely because of Cable's actions. The end of the movie with Cable, if anyone's followed the Cable and Deadpool comics or the Deadpool video game, their relationship is starting out how it is. That kind of weird kind of heterosexual life partner, but not really kind of relationship. They're starting out, but in that later part of the movie with Cable, it felt like his part kind of slipped. He kind of got lost in the shuffle, and which is kind of disappointing to me. They didn't name drop a couple characters, but until we see what they do with Cable, it's all hollow.
Okay. Since we're running close to that 30-minute mark, I'll make this quick for my bads and I'll elaborate in the Aftermath. There is a true villain. It's not Cable Guy, sorry. But it is so lame and sad and underutilized. It's like, what the heck, man? Why? You could have done so much with this. You could have brought it to a grander scale. Have you ever heard of Friends of Humanity? Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to stick with that? That's just a shame. You could have saw that one coming a mile away. So yeah, that's one bad. Number two, Deadpool. He's still kind of a bad. He's all over the place, humor-wise, but other times they fall so flat. I have to question. I have to question Deadpool sometimes. I just don't know. I mean, He's trying. He's a tryhard. Deadpool's a tryhard. That's all I gotta say. And I will agree on some of the CGI. Could have been better, and I'm not that kind of guy. But it really could have been a little bit better, a skosh better, just a tiny bit. The rest of the stuff I'll have to say in the Aftermath. But yeah, my number one bad, the villain really sucked. Really, really disappointingly sucked. It made me sad. And you know what? There's a silver lining in this. But again, that's for the Aftermath. So, ratings. Go.
Pass. I'll give it just a pass. I mean, I didn't regret I saw it. I thought I really didn't want to miss this, and I'm glad I did see it. And these are all predicated on nitpicks because absolutely Ryan Reynolds does a remarkable job as Deadpool.
He's a good actor.
There's no question. And Cable's acting, and the actors did a really good job. I just found that the movie for me lackluster, and if I would have missed the movie, I probably wouldn't have, I wouldn't have, El Nino wouldn't have returned or anything.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel too sad about it.
No.
All right. So, I'm not going to... I see Ryan Reynolds and and his co-writer's hard work in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that. The comedy, it had me laughing with all their fourth wall references, all their meta references. I'm a trivia geek, and I got most of that. I love that.
Yeah, I did too.
The first part of this movie was an X-Men movie. Actual, honest to goodness X-Men movie, and that got me hype.
Agreed.
The new characters they introduced were awesome, especially Russell and Domino. The old characters, they're welcome back. They even have a cameo, Blink and Miss cameo by Spoiler. You'll have to look for the aftermath for that. And I thought that was pretty neat too. Whether it was just CG or they got that person's permission, or whether that was actually that person. But I can't give it a platinum pass because, it's like they failed to stick the landing in the third act, and that's the problem.
Backlash, you're in a safe space. You don't have to give platinum pass to Deadpool. He can't get you.
But I mean, even Black Panther, and I thought that scene near the end was pretty good. But even it wasn't as good as the first 2 acts of the movie. It seems like these superhero movies, really not many of them can really make that third act work if they make the first 2 acts really, really strong. And that's where Deadpool 2 suffers. And we'll see what happens if this series goes forward. I'm anticipating it because it really was awesome, and a lot of it. But I do give it a pass. It doesn't blow me away. But I think they did good. They did good enough for what they're working with.
I will also give it a pass too. This is not better than the first movie, but it's better written than the first movie. Deadpool is still a mixed bag. On the one hand, he is funny in good parts. He has plenty of action. He's his own character. He's unique. There's no one like him, guaranteed. On the other hand, he pushes certain jokes that fall flat. His morals are questionable, and if he could just pick a lane. He wants to be a hero, but he wants to murder people. He says, don't do this, but he does this. I just can't get a beat on him. And I don't know if that's part of his character, or extreme insanity, or the fact is it's lazy writing, like he brings up in the jokes of his own movie. I don't know. The point is, Deadpool, he's like...
I don't think they can make him as wacky as they really can.
I want him to be as wacky as... I want him to be a literal cartoon character. I want that to be his whole thing. And if he can't be that whole thing, and he's pushing this adult contemporary comedy stuff, where he drops F-bombs and crotch shots, that's not going to do it for me. Ryan Reynolds, fantastic actor. I know he could play it off. He just needs a better writer to help the next Deadpool. But, that being said, the movie in itself is good. I would see it. I would see it on a cheap rate. Go the early bird special. Don't pay $15 for it. Don't see it in 3D. Don't see it in IMAX.
Right.
See it once, and you're done.
Yeah.
And before we get to the catchphrase, I'll just say
We're almost there.
All right. I'll just say this: for all the discs labeled at the DC Extended Universe and at the Avengers Infinity War and the Avengers in general, it couldn't live up to the hype.
So, this is the one John the Gamer Boss runs.
Any information on True Backlash?
And First Lady Amelia Blue
Saying stay tuned whenever I post this next for the aftermath. We got plenty to say.
like us and subscribe.
Until then, though, take care.
Do the walk, do the talk, don't be cool, do the school.